On today's episode, we're going to go through the journey of 0 to 10 million plus in revenue of swag.com in just 3 years. It's a great episode you don't want to miss, so do stay tuned. Welcome to the 2X e-commerce podcast show, and I'm your host, Kunle Campbell. Now, on this podcast, we're going to be talking about business to business e-commerce and the astronomical 2,000% growth this company called swag.com managed to achieve in just 3 years. So they started from zero and are slated this year to hit $11 million in revenue as a result of blood, sweat, and hustle. They're a phenomenal company. Jeremy Parker, the founder who I interviewed, has done a phenomenal job at initially, knocking door to door at businesses and ensuring that they had product market fit. People wanted what they were selling, essentially, which were branded t-shirts, mugs and the like. Loads. Now they sell a lot of branded merchandise. So it's essentially branded merchandise they sell, and so year one was not necessarily e-commerce. It was just knocking at doors, making phone calls, and ensuring that they were getting those sales, those deals in. And once they did that, they started to do a lot more pull and push marketing by advertising on Google and doing direct mail and doing a lot more other things. Right? These guys have also managed to buck the trend, go against the trend essentially in 2020, because a lot of businesses in their space have suffered. So rather than going on a one-to-one whereby if I order like t-shirts, 1,000 t-shirts, it's delivered to my office, and then at the office the HR department distributes or admin distributes the 1,000 t-shirts. What they have managed to do is create an entire self-serve system where individual employees in a company can get these delivered to them now in the pandemic straight to their homes, essentially. And that has allowed them grow, way ahead of competition and the industry at large. So why you should really listen to this interview is to just understand the way Jeremy thinks as a founder. When problems come, his problem solving skills are very unique, because it's a bit of smart and a bit of hustle, just pure hustle. It's a very, very interesting conversation I had with him. I took a lot of notes over the interview, and the other story you don't want to miss in this one is how they got their domain name swag.com. You can imagine how expensive it is. I asked him in this interview. It's something you should just listen to, to understand how smart these guys are. Now, if you haven't already, and before I let you go, if you haven't already subscribed to this episode, if it's your first time actually listening to the 2X e-commerce podcast show, please try and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. It helps us tremendously, get exposure. Whether you find us on YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play Store, anywhere, wherever you get your podcast. If the first time listening to it, hit subscribe. Now, if your podcasting platform has a review, leave us a review, positive or negative. So if I think iTunes is the major platform that supports reviews. Go on to the iTunes, Apple iTunes, or it's called Apple Podcasts these days, and leave us a review. I'd love a 5-star, but be honest with whatever you're leaving. It would help us, it would expose us, and also share episodes you find interesting. Share with your team, with your colleagues, on social media. This stuff helps us essentially, and it keeps us going. We've been around for over 5 years. It'll be coming to 6 years now, and I just appreciate every one of you. Okay, I'm going to let you go now. Enjoy this episode. It is with Jeremy Parker, founder of swag.com. Cheers. Welcome to the 2X e-commerce podcast show. I'm your host, Kunle Campbell, and this is the podcast dedicated to rapid growth in online retail. So if you work in marketing, you're a founder at a direct-to-consumer e-commerce business,
this show is going to help you sell more, essentially, directly to your consumers or customers, more or less. So each week, as you know, if you tune in on a regular basis, I interview an expert, a founder of a direct-to-consumer e-commerce business, or representative from a best-in-class e-commerce SaaS product. And we're focused on helping you improve growth metrics such as conversions, average order value, repeat customers, your audience size, and ultimately sales. Now, on today's show, I think when I had the opportunity to just interview Jeremy Parker, who's the CEO of this company, I just jumped at it. I was like, yes, I'm going to do it because first of all, the name, the brand name is so memorable. It's just called swag.com. And it pretty much does what it says on the tin. It's more or less a warehouse marketplace, a product where companies can go into, purchase swag for their business. So, whether it's t-shirts, whether it's mugs, whether it's notepads, you name it. So think about attending a conference or onboarding a new employee. What are the things you're going to give from your brand, or a new customer of yours, a new client of yours? What are the things that you're going to give to them? What are the products you're going to give to them? Branded products. You just go to swag.com. And then you pretty much make that order. Now, they are by no means a small business. They are doing really, really good numbers. I believe you guys are you're about to hit about 10 million this year. And they have customers such as Starbucks, AOL, Amazon, Netflix, Spotify. So you know the drill. Mercedes, WeWork, Virgin. So they have quite enterprisey clients, and they're able to really serve this client. And in this pandemic, which we're going to talk about, you can imagine the decline in the demand for swag, because most conferences have moved virtually. But these guys actually went against the tide to grow. Now, I think I'm babbling way too much. I just want to introduce you, Jeremy. Welcome to the show, Jeremy.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Okay, fantastic. Could you take a minute or maybe even two to introduce yourself and swag.com, what you guys are all about? I probably haven't done you a great deal of from the intro.
No, you did a great job. So swag.com, we're the best place for companies to buy quality promotional products that you'll actually want to keep. So what we've done is we've streamlined the best of what's out there. You don't have to search through thousands of mugs or thousands of notebooks. We've done the heavy lifting. Over 95% of the products we tested didn't make the cut. And what we spend time a lot doing is streamlining the experience for buying of swag. You find what you want, you upload your logo. Our system could detect how many colors are in your logo and the nearest Pantone match. So we're making sure you get Coca-Cola red and not Staples red. It's very important the details matter. Right. Then you can go through the checkout flow and just purchase. And about 2 years ago, we saw a real shift of this work from home culture, of people maybe not wanting to go across the country to a business meeting. Maybe they didn't want to send or fly across the country for a trade show, etc. So we built this whole distribution platform. With the click of a button, when you're going through our checkout flow, you can decide, do I want to send it to my address or my office? Or I click a button that says, hold my swag in inventory and easily distribute it. It tells our system, hold all this swag in our fulfillment center, and then you can distribute it on command. You could send it to one address or thousands of addresses at once. If you don't have the recipient's address of your employees, your best customers, you could easily create a recipient branded landing page, capture the information, what t-shirt size they are, what product do they want, what address are they. It all speaks to our system and we could distribute it. So we built this robust platform, and we started doing it based on an e-commerce platform that really led into this much bigger thing. And we've grown. We have over 5,000 companies at this point. As you mentioned before, we work with Spotify and Netflix and TikTok and Facebook and Google, Amazon, and small startups. So you could be a company that has 24 t-shirts, 10 t-shirts, or a company that's buying 20,000 t-shirts at once. Yeah. We really could help you out. So love to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
No, a pleasure. And you guys are doing a brilliant job. So how old is swag.com?
Yeah, so we started early 2016. So we're just finishing up our 5th year. This year we were named the 218th fastest growing company in the US on the Inc. 500. Which is really great, and the fastest growing promotional product company in the US.
Okay, let's talk numbers. What did you do in 2016? What are you doing now? What are you expected to do now? I did mention the 10 million this year expectation. I think you've smashed that, or you've almost smashed that. So what's a growth trajectory in the business thus far
Yeah,
from
so we started the first year, 2016. We did about 350,000 in sales. It was very manual. It was me and my co-founder, knocking on doors, and we had no platform at this point. So it was like we were traveling salesmen. But we used that first year to really learn from our customers on a human level what should be the platform to build. We used that knowledge. We launched the first version of the eCommerce site in 2017, did 1.1 million approximately. 2018, the site's getting better, did about 3 million in sales in 2018. 2019, we did 6.9 million in sales. This year, from January and February, we were doubling up our January and February numbers of last year. So we were on track to hit that 14 million mark. And then obviously the pandemic hit us. Now, the whole industry as a whole was really suffering in terms of this pandemic, because it makes sense. HR managers are not buying swag to onboard their new hires because no one's really hiring right now. Marketing teams are not buying swag for trade shows because there are no trade shows. The office manager who historically bought swag for the company culture in the office is not doing that right now because no one's in the office. But we've had to pivot to really focus on the distribution side of the business. We're realizing that everyone's so disconnected, but how do you keep the company culture thriving even when no one's in the office? So having this easy platform where you could just buy swag and distribute it in a matter of seconds really keeps teams together, really keeps you and your customers engaged, really helps close leads that you maybe haven't talked to in a while, and also humanizes these virtual events and makes it more meaningful by sending them something in the mail. This year, we're about to break 10 million already, so we should do about 11 million in this year.
Okay, incredible growth trajectory. You've grown pretty much 10x in the last 4 years or 3 years. Big question I have is, how do you sell it? There's one thing about saying you have distribution, you have the capabilities of distribution. There's another thing convincing the HR manager that, in order to retain company culture, they should, send swag to all their customers. So how have you been able to sell the distribution strength of swag.com thus far to essentially go against the tide of the very slow market you're in at the minute?
We're also disconnected. I know this as a founder of my company. Everyone's working remotely. We've been 8 months out of the office. It's very hard to keep the company culture going. It's hard. It's something that's very hard, but it's so meaningful and so important. When you're in the office, you could see every single employee. I could bump into an employee that I might not have every day-to-day business with, but I see them by the coffee machine and we start talking and we start talking about the weekend. And you have this kind of culture building where maybe ideas could spark. And there's just a lot of things that are missing now that we're not in the office. I think a lot of office managers and HR managers and marketing teams realize that there's such a disconnect and they want to keep their company culture thriving. So they're looking for gifts. They're looking to give their employees something to show that they care. And swag.com is all about that. So we're writing a lot of pieces of content. We're doing some Google ads and SEO and partnerships, different kind of ways to let people know we're the place that you want to come if you want to give your employees, your best customers, your leads, something quality, something that they'll actually want to keep. A big kind of no-no for swag and what's been out there for a while is what we call throwaway swag, products that you buy that end up in the trash. It not only hurts your company because it's tarnishing their brand, but it's also costing your company money. So we're all about curating what's out there, only offering products that are the best in breed, even having products on our site that have never done promotional products before. Belroy backpacks, Nomo London, really exclusive premium brands that would have never done promotional products before. But now, because our site doesn't feel like the throwaway schlocky promotional product site, they're willing to work with us. So really always pushing for the foremost, and kind of our mission is only offering quality. I think when people see that, when people come to our site, when they're looking at the product selection that we offer, I think they understand the benefit and the use case and how it's going to help them.
Okay, right. A lot of people will be wondering, a lot of people, just like how I wondered, how did you get the domain swag.com? It doesn't sound like it was cheap. Or did you buy the domain years ago with foresight?
Yeah, it's a good question. When we started the business, we knew we needed to own the brand in the space. Promotional products is such an interesting business because it's all about helping our customers, right? You help Facebook and let their brand shine. We help Amazon let their brand shine. But all the kind of promotional product companies in this space really haven't focused on their own brand. And if I was the buyer and I put myself in the buyer's shoes at Facebook and I'm going to a promotional product company, wouldn't I want to work with a company that their brand aligns with my brand or my aesthetic? So we really try to own that brand, own that name. Now, it was very expensive to buy swag.com. We knew how memorable it was. We knew that was exactly what the current buyer, the millennial buyer today, is calling it. So we reached out to the owner, somebody.
Let's take a quick break to hear from our sponsors. Klaviyo is a growth marketing platform that powers over 25,000 online businesses. Klaviyo understands every single customer interaction and empowers brands to create more personalized marketing moments. Listen, analyze, and act on your customer data with Klaviyo. Visit klaviyo.com/2x.
He was sitting on it for many years. They were asking a crazy amount for the name. We ultimately ended up negotiating the price down significantly, and we still didn't have enough money to buy it. So we worked out a deal with the owner where we basically give him a small percentage of the company as like an investor, and we would exclusively license the domain name for a 2-year period with the option to buy. So it allowed us from day one to have this domain name, to launch it, to be this brand, to build that SEO value. And that when we could prove out the model and prove out that the name was powerful and meaningful, then we could ultimately use that sales money to reinvest and buy the domain name. And that's what we did about 8 months after we launched the business.
8 months. Wow. That's incredible. Okay, let's talk about operations. So what does operations look like? Do you have a warehouse? Do you work with partners? How did what is the setup now from an operational standpoint? When I log into the website, say I want to look for a mug, which I'm on now, I'm on the custom mugs section, and I upload my logo to it. What set of events does this trigger on the back end?
Sure. Yeah. So we work with over 100 different suppliers, and those suppliers, we spent the years and we're constantly testing and vetting, adding new suppliers, removing suppliers, making sure we have the best in breed products and suppliers that we like to work with. We're integrated with many of these suppliers, our core suppliers, where we know the inventory counts in real time. So on their end, if they ever run low on a specific product or a color or SKU, it will automatically hide it from our site. So we don't even offer it to our customer base to make sure that we're not selling things that we don't actually have the inventory of. So that's very important. But once you find your mug that you're looking for, you upload your logo, the price adjusts in real time, you check out, it takes literally less than 3 minutes to check out on our site. We automatically create a PO and send that PO to the supplier. They create a virtual mockup. We send that virtual mockup to you to get approval. Once you approve it, it notifies our system automatically to start production. And then we produce the product and drop ship it directly to your office or to your location. If you select that you want to hold your swag in inventory, we ship those products to our fulfillment center for warehousing and distribution. You log into the back end, you go to your My Inventory portal. Think of it as like an online swag closet. You see all of your products in real time, the exact number of products. You could manage your inventory whenever you're running low with, say, you smart notifications. You could reorder really easily, or you could distribute it. So you get to easily manage exactly what you have at all times.
Okay, so you have a one-to-many distribution system essentially, and you also have a one-to-one in the event the company really wanted to take stock of the item. Is that right?
Right. Yeah, you could send it to one office. So let's say back in the day when everyone was at their office, you could buy 100 mugs and send it right to your office. That's the normal process of how promotional products are built. What we've added to that is a layer of, well, if now all your remote employees are living everywhere, right? You have employees in Israel, you have employees in Texas, in New York, and Florida, right? We don't even know, or your customers or your leads, you want to engage with people. How do you engage with them when they're not all at a central point? So we built this tool that it's not a whole separate platform where you have to sign a membership fee. It's none of that. It's an extension of our e-commerce site. So you go onto our site, you buy 100 mugs with the click of a button, you're telling our system to now hold your stuff in our fulfillment center. Once it's in our fulfillment center, you could decide to send this person a mug and this person 5 mugs. You can upload a CSV file of 1,000 different addresses. We'll calculate the shipping costs in real time. You'll pay for it. Now we're shipping a mug to 1,000 different locations. If you don't have the addresses, you could create a recipient branded landing page to capture the address of your recipients, to capture what products they want, what t-shirt size they are. All these different information. You could set it up that only your marketing closet gets access to certain swag and your sales closet gets access to other swag. So you could really break it down by department, by location. If Jennifer and your marketing team wants to distribute swag that's over $50, you could set it up that the admin will have to approve or reject her order. So we built this robust platform where it's a distribution platform, but it's also a swag management platform. And it really allows different divisions and different companies who work differently to manage their swag in their own way.
So I guess you're billed upfront for inventory, and then with shipping, with individual shipping, you're charged again. How would that work?
That's exactly how it works. But what we like to say is if you were going to distribute to 100 different locations, what would the process be? You would need to buy it and ship it to your home at this point, or your office if you are working office. You would have to package up yourself, which takes a lot of time. And then you would be hit with shipping charges, shipping it to 100 different locations. So we're just handling it for you, but we're actually doing it a lot cheaper because we get great shipping rates and we charge you what we get charged. So we're not looking to make money on the shipping. We're not making money on any of this distribution stuff. It's all to make your lives easier. We're making money on the swag production because that's our bread and butter. But we want to make the whole process easy for you. And we understand that it's difficult, it's complicated, it's cumbersome. Let us handle it for you and let us automate this entire experience for you.
That makes sense. Let's talk marketing now. So obviously you're in the B2B space if we think about it. So what does B2B e-commerce look like? Is it B2B marketing, or how do you go about acquiring customers? I mean, your growth rate's been phenomenal. Starting out with about 1 million in 2017, and then you're about to hit 11. That's, an 11x growth in the last 3 years. So how have you been able to consistently, I mean, the leap from 2018 to 2019 is phenomenal, almost 2 to 7 million in revenue. So how have you been able to, have this been large purchase orders, or has this been due to a large volume of orders, or both? What does marketing look like?
It is both. I wouldn't say that there's massive orders. Obviously, we get here and there an order that's 50,000 plus, but it's not like we have, let's sub 1,000 customers and one of our customers accounts for a majority of the revenue. We have over 5,000 customers, and our average order size is about $2,000 an average order size. Right. More recently, it's been closer to 4,000 during this pandemic because people are buying and using us for distribution. So they're buying larger orders in bulk and distributing it, but it's not like
when you say people are using, are these businesses? Are these other partner businesses? Are these companies?
It's companies. So we're strictly B2B. I would think of us as strictly B2B company. We don't sell the one-offs. It's not a regular consumer platform where you could buy a branded t-shirt with your logo. You have to buy in bulk. We have minimum set for every single product. So it is for businesses, specifically for businesses. But how we designed the platform is very much consumer driven, because we realize whether you're an HR manager, an office manager, a marketing person, you are a consumer. So it needs to appeal to your sensibilities as a regular consumer. So it needs to be easy, it needs to be frictionless, it needs to be automated. So we built our platform and we designed the platform with the individual in mind, not the business in mind. The design and user experience was with the user in mind to start. Ultimately, as we've grown, we've added additional features that really thought about the bold picture of businesses. How can it be used for the marketing team versus the sales team versus the London office, the New York office, the HR team? How can you really use our e-commerce and automated experience to really think about, as a global scale, how could it work for all these different businesses? And in terms of marketing, it's been a lot of throwing things at the wall and seeing what works. I always like to think with traction channels, it's never one answer that gets you the results you need. So from the very beginning, we were traveling salesmen. It was me and my co-founder, Josh. We used to literally show up at offices unannounced, knocking on doors and selling. We showed up with bags of swag and try to make sales, because that's the means that we had in the beginning. Once we got our first row of blue chip companies that we could hold our hat on, then we started to transition to more of a Google paid advertising, because Google, even though it was very expensive, we knew that the mentality of the person was further along in the funnel. They're looking for something specifically right now. Let's get in touch with them. Let's get that order. Then when we realized we got enough business, maybe it was like 100 to 200 customers at this point, we realized, well, it's way too expensive to grow and it doesn't really do anything. We don't have any special sauce that's going to make us different than anyone else in terms of Google ads, right? At that point. So let's transition to more of a content strategy and let's be super, super consistent with it. I think with content, it's all about consistency. It's putting out content every day. And what our strategy was, we had this amazing, memorable swag.com brand name. Once you hear it, you'll never forget it. So if you heard it today, you'll remember it next week. You'll remember it in a year from now. Exactly. So what we did was,
let's take a quick break to hear from our sponsors. Did you know that cloud-hosted e-commerce platforms like Shopify and BigCommerce do not provide automatic backups? Rewind steps in to protect Shopify and BigCommerce stores with automatic backups. Rewind is trusted by over 25,000 stores. Install Rewind and get to test it for free over 7 days. And to extend the 7-day trial to 30 days, head over to rewind.io, their website, and mention 2x eCommerce.
Who's our core buyer? We have the office manager, we have the marketing teams, we have the HR manager. Let's write content that appeals to them, whether it has to do with swag or it has nothing to do with swag, but it's relevant to them. They Google, they find the article, they read it, whether they remember swag or don't, who knows? But when they go to their browse and their Business Insider or Forbes or YouTube or whatever it is, we have advertisements and we retarget them with our swag.com branding. What happens is they don't even need to click on the retargeting ad because they see the name swag.com and they type it directly into the browser.
Yep.
We're able to bypass actually paying for acquisition because of how memorable the brand was. And that was by design from the very beginning.
It's genius. Brand recall. It's just built into the name, and who doesn't like to say the word swag, swag. So what's your advice to listeners who there might be two baskets of listeners, people who have a brand at the moment and not very happy with the brand recallability of their brand, and you have people who are about to start and they're thinking, should I invest in a brand, in a memorable brand? What's your advice to those buckets of listeners?
That's a good question. I knew it was so needed for our specific industry. So I don't want to say and make a claim that you should definitely go all in terms of a brand recognition for a certain, industry that I'm not really familiar with. I knew for promotional products, it was so needed because it's a $30 billion plus industry and there's no go-to brand. There's no place that you think this is the place to buy promotional products. So it was just kind of sitting on the table of why is no one taking this ability to own the brand in the space? And I'll take one step further. I think honestly, the biggest marketing initiative is something that is not like, it's not even what's on the surface of what I mentioned before. The biggest way that we've actually been able to acquire customers is that every single product, every t-shirt that we sell says swag.com on the inner label. So when, let's say, Facebook buys 5,000 t-shirts, the whole point of swag is to be given away. It's not like a pair of jeans where you wear jeans and it's the cooler, the more you wear it, it gets cool and roughed out. You buy 5,000 t-shirts, you're giving it away. And presumably the people that Facebook's giving those t-shirts away to are decision makers. They work at other companies or they're within the organization who are decision makers that you want to get people connected. Every single person who gets that t-shirt sees the quality, gets the instant social proof that Facebook's using us, and sees swag.com with our tagline, "We made this." It's very on the nose of, wow, let me check out swag.com. It's like the ultimate business card for us.
Yeah, that's distribution right there for you, massive at scale. How did you get your suppliers? How did you convince your suppliers, all your suppliers, because you have lots of suppliers, to change their labeling to swag.com?
In the very beginning, it was hard. No one, in the beginning with everything, with any business, no one's really going to, give you the respect or do anything out of the ordinary unless you prove it. So the first year or so, we really just grew and we wanted to grow and show the growth that we're able to renegotiate with them, whether it was pricing and bringing down the cost, which we could pass those savings to our customer, or, white labeling specific products, or even more so our fulfillment center. Every single time someone makes a distribution, a normal process for distribution is you include a packing slip on every distribution. You get a packing slip. So on every packing slip, we write in the small little thing, powered by swag.com. So if somebody is shipping out 20,000 notebooks to 20,000 addresses, when they get the products, obviously has their company logo, it has all of that stuff, but there's a little packing slip that they could look who sent it, powered by swag.com. Clearly, when they go to our site, they know that we not only do the swag, we do the distribution of swag, and we're doing it for big companies that just sent them stuff in the mail. So wherever we could get our name and our brand out there in a way that doesn't affect the customer at all, that's actually, highlighting the customer. By the way, so much so that when we have our t-shirts on our site, they're called swag.com t-shirts, and we have a very similar product, the same exact price point from one of these other brands, our most popular product on our site is the swag.com t-shirt, the swag.com water bottle. Our brand is actually causing our customers to spend more on our site on those specific products. So it's showing that people are connecting to the swag.com brand, that people are valuing our curation and what products we're selecting and promoting. So it's been really, really useful for us and helpful.
There's a massive brand pool with the name and with the way you're going about distributing it. It's non-intrusive, it's subtle, and the name just sits in well with the product. There's that affinity really with the product and the brand, so it just makes sense in that respect. Okay, so let's talk about technology. Just before that, in regards to marketing, I noticed you have your phone number on your website, right next to the brand. How often is that called? point? Do you have like a
Uh,
sales team that receive calls and or is
yes,
most of it onboarded on your site?
yeah, most of it is not. Rarely do people call in.
Okay.
We're just there to make people feel safe that they can call, and we always have people who can respond to it. Majority of our orders are self-serve, but we have an intercom feature on our site, which has been our biggest use case. People come in, whether they want, they want to make sure that their logo comes out perfect. They want to make sure that says the in-hand date is November 10th and they need it to be by November 8th. Can we do a rush on it? Any sort of question that causes any friction, they could just reach out, and we have a dedicated team that responds within a minute. That will answer any questions you have, let you know what can be done, let you know what type of product it is and the quality, et cetera. Give them the confidence to purchase. But really, I would say 95% of our orders are just handled if they need any kind of confidence through the intercom. We do have an inbound sales team for bigger orders. If we're dealing with a big company that's looking for $100,000 plus order and they want swag boxes and they want these boxes to be packaged and distributed to remote addresses, they're going to put that kind of money on a credit card or pay through our system. They're going to want more of a hand holding to walk through the platform.
Exactly.
So we do have a team that can walk them through. But over 95% of our orders are that frictionless.
So what intercom package are you on?
I believe we're just we have four customer service reps right now for all of our sales. So it's just a small team, but they're working from 9 to 7. And we say if they, if everyone reaches out after 7 o'clock Eastern time, we'll just say we'll follow up the next day and we'll get back to them bright and early next day.
All right. Okay. Makes sense. Is email heavy in your operation, in your marketing? Do you besides like newsletters, do you do any email automation where you think, okay, this customer has not ordered from us in the last 6 months, and typical cycles are every 6 months. Do you sort of try and win them back with automation, with automated?
Yeah, we definitely do that, but we're also mindful of not annoying customers.
Right.
We're here for when you need us. We don't want to be just constantly sending you stuff. So we're never going to do that. We send a newsletter once a month. Well, if you haven't ordered in a couple of months and at that point where we think you probably will want to use it, we'll maybe send you an automated email, or we'll just have one of our account managers just directly reach out to you on a personal level to try to engage. But we're not the company to kind of blast people when they want. We want to have, when people buy from us, we want them to think about swag.com.
Okay. Really what kind of CRM do you use?
We're using HubSpot.
HubSpot. Okay. That's very, very good. Let's talk about technology. So, build in from what you said, and from the way the website actually works, it just means you the use cases first have been well thought out. There's one thing having use cases, is another executing. So, what does your tech team look like? How have you sort of built the infrastructure that powers Swag and makes customer experience the way the way it is, which is world class?
Thank you. Yeah. So we built our entire platform fully custom. We're not using out of the box solution. Frankly, I wish we could. In the very beginning, we looked at a lot of the solutions.
Let's take a quick break to hear from our sponsors. Klaviyo is a growth marketing platform that powers over 25,000 online businesses. Klaviyo understands every single customer interaction and empowers brands to create more personalized marketing moments. Listen, analyze, and act on your customer data with Klaviyo. Visit klaviyo.com/2x.
Are out there, the Shopify's, and by the way, I love Shopify for most e-commerce businesses, but our business is very complicated in terms of the pricing dynamics. Every product has different pricing, dynamic pricing based on the quantity they're looking to buy, how many print locations, the front and the back, and the number of colors in the print. It's very complicated to do something like that when you have 3,000 different products and they're all different pricing calculations to make it automated on one of these out-of-the-box solutions. So we had to build it from the ground up, and we constantly been adding more and more people to the team. The first year we had 1 developer. Now we have over 14 developers on the team full time. We're constantly chipping away at issues and really trying to learn from our customers. So I'm the head of products. So I'm doing the user experience and design, but really the features that I have a lot of ideas of features, and our team has a lot of ideas in terms of the design of the features, but really it's coming from our customers, our customer success team. That's really it. It's our customer success team talking to our customers every day, realizing their pain points, and then constantly sending messages. Hey, Jeremy, here are 10 features that we think would really, really help either the ops team or the customers to check out. And we're constantly just prioritizing the customer. I think that's the main thing with us, is always prioritize the customer, because they know what they want better than we do. That's really,
That's a brilliant point. In regards to looking at what your customers are doing. Those chat sessions, those conversations they're having on the front line, and bringing it back, feeding it back to product, and making that actually come to fruition. Really, makes a lot of sense. What about international shipping? Do you is it 100% US, Canada, or do you find the odd person from Europe coming in to order from swag.com?
No, we ship worldwide. We have a lot of customers who buy from us, or maybe their hub is based in the US, because the majority of our customers are US based. But especially now where everyone's working remote, everyone has different teams. They want to have a consistency of quality. They would buy a lot of stuff, hold in our inventory, and then distribute the swag to all these different remote addresses, international, etc. And obviously it could get expensive. And we don't want to claim that it's going to be the same expense of US based shipping. But we've worked, and we have world-class shipping experts on our team who have been able to figure out the best shipping rates for different countries, how to get the conversion. There's a lot of times where people come to us and say, hey, my package from different companies that they work with, our package got held up in customs or this or that. We've tried to build a process that allows people to distribute it and not get held up in customs, get delivered really quickly. And we have a lot of, strategic strengths on our team. Frankly, we have our head of logistics, used to be one of a big player at Amazon, and also did Fresh Direct, and, managing different teams, and really understands the nuance of international and global shipping. So it allows us to be always one step ahead.
Right. Final question before we move on to our lightning round is just your aesthetics for design. Is that you, or do you have an in-house designer who can, sort of put just the nice use of color, so I know you have like a purple theme going on, but every other color is plays quite nicely side by side, whether it's a pink, whether it's a blue, whether it's green, orange. It's just visually appealing, and the website loads really quickly. So what does design look like in swag.com?
Yeah, so I'm the CEO, but I'm also head of product, and I have we have one designer on our team. Our head of design, Steven, based in London. And it's basically every day we just are brainstorming and throwing ideas against the wall, and trying to discuss kind of the color palette and what we want to showcase, and how we want to connect with our customers.
Right.
Swag.com, every single company has their own set of colors. Right. And swag.com we have our own kind of aesthetic and look. We just want to showcase to all of our customers that they should feel very confident using us. That's the main goal, whether it's the user experience, whether it's our brand name, whether it's our colors, whether it's the products that we're offering and we're curating, whether it's how automated the experience is. We just want to give them confidence at every single level, and every single, along the journey, constant confidence that we're the best place to get swag.
Right. Okay. I guess we should move into our lightning round. I'm going to ask you about 5 questions, and if you could use a single sentence to answer each of them, it'd be great.
Sure.
Are you a morning person?
Yes, I wake up early. I just had a daughter, my first child, a couple of months ago. So I do an hour walk before I start the workday every day.
Oh wow, that's brilliant. Actually, what time do you do your long walk?
I do it from 7 to about 8:15 usually, and then I start the workday at 8:45.
Not bad at all. That's a great hack. Okay, what 2 things can't you live without?
Besides the obvious, my family. I think in terms of the work, I can't live without my computer and a notepad. I'm constantly writing down ideas. Okay. I have to write it down and to kind of see, what needs to be done on a daily basis.
What book are you currently reading?
Book I'm currently reading. I'm reading Shoe Dog.
Okay. It's a good book. It's a great book, actually. What are the 3 indispensable tools used for managing your business?
Intercom. I don't know how our business would be in terms without Intercom. We need that instant communication with the customers right when they're placing the order. HubSpot, being able to manage our CRM and know where people are in the funnel, is insanely vital to us. And Dialpad, we use a service for phones, so we can record, we can see the questions that customers are asking. It allows us to really understand what products and what features we should be building.
Okay. Final question. What's been your best mistake to date? By that, I mean a setback that's given you the biggest feedback.
Ooh, setback. Our fulfillment center. When 2 years ago, when we started this distribution platform, none of the really large fulfillment centers would want to work with us because we didn't have the volume to justify it. So we had to work with the startup fulfillment center. That led to a lot of learning, but also ultimately when the pandemic hit, that company went bankrupt. So we had to shift all of those products to a new fulfillment center. At that point, we had the volume to justify working with this new fulfillment center. So we learned a lot. We got in the game very early on. It wasn't reactionary. We were proactive about getting in that space of doing distribution and realizing that was the new model in the future of promotional products. But it also set us back because we had to do a lot of damage control until we are right now, where things are running a lot smoother.
Awesome. Jeremy, I would just like to thank you for coming on the show. I've learned a ton. So has the audience. For those who want to reach out to you or follow the brand, guys, go to swag.com. That's swag.com. It can't get any simpler than that. Jeremy, are you active on any social platforms for people to follow you, or do you not?
Yeah, you can please reach out to me on LinkedIn, Jeremy Parker, swag.com, and Twitter. I post here and there, but really I post more on my LinkedIn account.
Okay, awesome. It's been an absolute pleasure having you, Jeremy.
Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Cheers.